Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here with some more Warhammer Combat Cards. I'd like to thank everyone who commented on that last video. It seems like this latest change to the daily reward system has really hit a nerve and generated a whole lot of discussion, which is good to see. I think there's a lot going on here, and really what I'd like to do here is kind of go back to sort of the root of the problem, and that is just the way that the game economy is set up in the first place. And I think it's really kind of similar to a lot of mobile games. It's an issue that affects most games these days, which is when you first start off in the game, you progress pretty rapidly. You're able to get the resources, in this case cards and coins. You're able to level up very quickly in the beginning, but as time goes on and your collection gets bigger and you start getting your cards to higher levels, your progress starts to slow down. And that happens in a lot of mobile games. You start off, things are really fun, things are great at the beginning, but then eventually you sort of hit a point where you have to start spending money in order to make any real progress or to get past a certain point. Now in this game, I've been playing the game for almost 3 years now, and I've gotten to a point where I don't actually even need to upgrade any more cards. I can easily make it to Terra every month with the cards that I already have. I could play through the campaigns if I wanted to spend the time and get a decent enough position. But the thing is, without the ability to upgrade your cards, there's a lot less motivation to play because it doesn't feel like you're making significant progress. And that's kind of the thing. There was a point where I had all of these warlords fully upgraded to the point where I could get them. But now you can see I've got warlords here that I have plenty of copies of, but still haven't bothered upgrading. Ahriman, I could get him to level 6. I have enough copies, but it's 560 coins just to get him to that level, just to get him a little bit of a melee upgrade. There's really no point in doing that. A lot of these upgrades, they just become extremely inefficient as time goes on, because the upgrades, of course, get more expensive the higher the level of the card is. So for a lot of these weaker cards in particular, upgrading them barely gives you any more stats on the card, so there's zero reason to upgrade the card. And then you just end up with hundreds of spare copies of the cards that you will never use. And that's another thing. Getting cards, opening packs of cards in the game feels good, because you're seeing all these cards. It's like, oh, yeah, I like this card, I like that card. But when you stop to think about it, the vast majority of cards that I'm getting at this point are absolutely useless because I already have hundreds of copies of them, and there's no point in getting any more. So the number of cards I get from packs that I can actually use, that are actually useful, is actually very, very low at this point. That also doesn't really help to motivate me to play the game more. And also the card pool has reached a point now. It's so massive that I think the developers have realized that, well, maybe we shouldn't be releasing new cards quite as often. So that's something I've noticed in recent months. It used to be that there was a new card every single week with every campaign, but now we have 2 campaigns with no new cards. Both of these cards here have been in the game already, so it's only like special events or new warlords that we're seeing new cards getting released. That also doesn't really help with the motivation. So I don't know. It's kind of a difficult issue. I think part of it is by design, that higher level players, if they could continue to upgrade their cards at the same speed as lower level players, then the gap between the veterans and the newbies would become increasingly big. And that would probably, I assume, create some balance issues. And that's another big gripe that a lot of players have historically had with this game, is the balancing, especially for lower level players who are getting matched against much more powerful opponents. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good thing that I'm not able to upgrade all these cards, but it's still not a good feeling, and it certainly doesn't help with motivation, because for me, it just feels like I've just reached a point where everything is stagnated. I can't upgrade the cards that I want to. You know, I can get lots of more cards, but there's really no point in even getting most of those cards. There are a few cards that I really would like to upgrade. If I can actually scroll maybe to the bottom here, and it tends to be the stronger, more expensive cards. If I can go all the way, scrolling through 500 cards, it takes a little while. But yeah, down here, like the Keeper of Secrets, this is one that I really would like to upgrade to level 5. It gets a really big power spike there. But I've been waiting. My clan has been dedicated to Chaos. I've been sitting here waiting for a copy of this card, and it's just not showing up. Now, there was a pack in the shop, actually, this past week that had one copy of the Keeper of Secrets. But again, it's vastly inefficient because it was 1,000 plasma for one copy of the Keeper of Secrets and a bunch of other cards that I didn't want. So, do I really want to shell out all that plasma just to get one card that I want? Not a great deal. A lot of these other packs in here, you can spend plasma to buy cards, but that's really not a very good way to spend plasma, in my mind. In the past, I have spent a little bit of plasma, or money on plasma, in order to get more coins to upgrade cards or to buy cards from the shop. That was something I did do a few times in the past, but recently, again, it's reached a point where, there are just so many cards that I want to upgrade, that I have enough cards for, but I can't, I don't have the coins, or I've just given up. There's just no point in even trying. So, I don't know, let me know what you think about the whole progression of this game. I think if you are a newer player, you're probably still at the point where things are moving along at a good pace. But if you've been playing the game for years, like me, I'm sure you have this issue where you have hundreds of cards in your collection to upgrade, but not enough coins. So, what do you do at this point? Do you continue to drop money into the game? Do you buy these coin packs in the shop? Do you watch the ads, and are you still motivated to play the game? Do you still look forward to the campaigns? Do you play through the campaigns? Do you hit Terra every month, or have you just sort of lost motivation to play the game? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are about this. One thing that I mentioned in the past that I personally would have liked to see in this game was the ability to have a use for all these extra cards that you're just not going to use. Like if there's a trade-in or crafting mechanic where you could, get rid of these cards that you don't want and maybe get something back for them. That would be really nice. That would be a good feeling, to actually be able to use these cards instead of just having them sit in your collection gathering dust. But that's just not the way the game is set up, and I think if they were to introduce that, they would have to really just revamp the whole economic system. Otherwise, it would just break the game. So, if you have any ideas for ways to improve the way that you get resources and use resources in this game, I'd also be curious to hear about that. But those are just my thoughts on the game economy. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.